Hey, how y'all doing? This is second episode of Soul Purpose Farms. It's Aaron. Today we got elated, elite, star-studded cast. We got Vic, Kelly Johnson, and Marquez Wortham. How y'all doing?
What's going on, Aaron? What's going on? What's going on, Vic?
Man, how you doing, man? I see you got the whole team here today. You know, we got the whole thing here today. I don't know if y'all want to give me like your handles or what at the beginning. You got Lab Life Shawty. We got Kale Bell herself. Hey, we're gonna put it out. We're gonna plant them seeds. So how y'all doing? How y'all doing today?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm living good, man. How y'all feeling?
Man, I'm good, man.
I'm good.
Hey, I woke up this morning, so I must be winning.
I
must be.
They own to us. I think they own to us.
Hey, I got 4 or 5 spots. I think they own to us.
Boy.
But yeah.
Let's get into it.
So, topic of today is why agriculture. So that may mean different things to you all, but one of the questions I came up with was, why does agriculture mean so much to you? Let's start right there.
Quez, you pop it off.
Want me to pop it off?
Go ahead, man.
Man, I mean, ag is a big part of my life, in general. In fact, it is my life. From the clothes that I wear to the food that I eat, you know, it encompasses everything that goes on with us day to day. I come from ag without even knowing it. I come from it. It's in my blood.
Man, go in detail, man. Come on, man. I want to know.
I mean, man, from 4-H to Boy Scouts to being raised up at my granddaddy and my great-granddaddy smokehouse, curing their own meat, doing their own preserves, you know, having their own fruit trees and own gardens and stuff like that. I mean, even stuff that I didn't know, man. My mom was telling me, you know, her great-granddad was the neighborhood vet, you know what I'm saying? And he had his own herbs and stuff like that, and he would cure people naturally. So it's just been a big part of my life. And, you know, at this point, I'm putting it on my back and running with it.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah.
At what point did you, like now in your journey, at what point did you like tap in and be like, okay, I'm with the ag. I'm with the ag field. Man. Or like I'm interested in it. You figured out interested in it.
To be honest, I was running away from it. I was trying everything that didn't work, to be honest. And I was working at this urban farm back in Atlanta at Good Samaritan Health Clinic of Atlanta as a AmeriCorps member, and there I was charged to coordinate programs for an urban farm. And at that time, I was like, man, I'm really not with this. I'm not trying to work on no farm. That's not me. And you know, of course, to coordinate programs for the farm, I had to get involved with what was going on the farm. So about a week, man, I'm out there weeding and digging and hoeing and transplanting and planting seedlings and things of that nature. And I'm like, yo, this is really for me. Like, this is really for me. And, you know, just watching you, Vic, and Aaron, you know, kind of progress through your academic careers, it's just been like, okay, like, I got to hop on. Like, I got to be a part of this, and I can't let this pass me up because it is a part of my life.
One thing I want to say to you, man, I know something that I struggle with. It may sound a little abstract or ignorant, but growing up, me and you from the east side of Atlanta, Vic from the west side of Atlanta, it was always this term, boy, you country.
Yeah, I caught that all the time.
Yeah, like, but we look at it as a bad thing. Like, nobody really wanted to be country.
Yeah.
Throw that term around, like somebody might say, man, you over there at the country. What does that really even mean? Is that something that we ran away from? Because most of the work that we're into, like when we're talking like farming, like that's a personal hobby, interest of all 3 of us. So when you hear that term country, like growing up, has that impacted what your like persona of how you view agriculture?
Yeah, because agriculture was always unorthodox for me. Speaking for me personally, I know we all grew up in the city, but agriculture was unorthodox. Like, it wasn't a thing to come back and brag to you know, your peers about. You know, I remember going and spending weekends in the country all the time, and it was never something that I came back and was just like, hey, I was with my people in the country, and I ate a peach and a worm came out of it. Like, that's how fresh the fruit, you know what I'm saying, is. Like that was just never a thing that was just in or like, you know, celebrated in our community. So for me, it's something that I'm trying to, bring into our community in that light.
Yeah, I know one of the things, like when you somebody buy the peach of wine might come out of, I know going down to South Georgia during the summertime, we used to have competitions who can collect the most pecans. I
Yeah.
pulling up back to the city talking about, man, boy, y'all know how many pecans I got this weekend? And if I said something like that, I'll be deemed as putting that country stigma on me. I'm like, but I realized as older and I progressed throughout life, realizing the importance of just those small treasures. But I'm glad you shared that though, Wes. What about you, Vic?
For me, I mean, I was in 4-H. We talked about it in the last episode, but I was in 4-H, and I come from a family of farmers. We still farm to this day, and I realized it was all around me. Now the importance of it, I didn't realize until later on, of course, but I realized, in my undergrad career, my passion and purpose of, being in the ag field and the different opportunities that came with it. And I think too, coming from a family of farmers, it allowed me to appreciate it more, right? Because it's in my roots. You know what I'm saying? I grew up around this stuff. I grew up working around it. My granddad, my family's the only Black family in Greensboro, Alabama that got that much property and still, farming to this day. So, that's something that I've held on to through this entire journey. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you shared that because I think we all have similar backgrounds as what it really means to me. And the other thing, when I was saying like agriculture, I just hit I don't know, for some reason to me, the word family pops up. Like, because when I say agriculture, I automatically think about my personal family and my extended family, which is y'all. Like, it pops in mind, like, how my family is involved. Like, it's just not go to school, study agriculture. It's like a way of life for us at this point, because I want to thank y'all on the platform just saying, when I think about agriculture, I think about you all. Y'all are the pillars, you know what I'm saying? Great Black woman, great Black brother right here. Y'all resemble what agriculture should be and where it's gonna be at in the future, and what it is right now, and bringing that legacy, which you all have been brought up from generations and generations in the past, to what y'all preparing for the generation that don't even know you all right now. So I appreciate that. So another question I wanted to say, like leading to the next question, like what opportunities have agriculture been presented for you, and what has agriculture done for you in your life so far?
I'll let you take that one, Vic.
A lot of opportunities, honestly. Like every opportunity that I've had since I went into ag business has been.
Hold on.
Related.
What is ag business for those who don't know? What is ag business?
It's agriculture business. So basically the business side of agriculture and the industry itself, not so much the hands-on, like in the field, boots on the ground. So I always say I might as well major in or minor in econ or economics, because it's a lot of economics that comes with being an ag business major. But yeah, when I got into ag business, I honestly, I had to create my own opportunities, right? So again, not coming from a actual college of agriculture or life sciences.
At that time,
I had to create my own opportunities. So that was through cooperative extension, which is an extension of the university, but really it's the foundation of the university, because that's why we're a land grant. That's where our programs come through that deem us as a land grant university. At Virginia Tech, UGA, South Carolina State, just to name a few. But to answer your question, yeah, I've been a part of youth development programs. I've done my own, started my own ag business, and been able to work with high schools in the community doing hydroponics. What else? Internships, all types of stuff. So a lot of once I tapped into agriculture on an academic level, because again, I had already been part of it. Once I tapped in on an academic level, the opportunities were endless for me. So.
Well, I guess for me, the opportunities that it created for me was it gave me a sense of structure, even more structure and discipline in my own life, as far as recognizing that agriculture is much bigger than what I really thought it was. And I was able to gain insight as far as true mentorship that I've been seeking, but I haven't found until I was in the field. Like I said previously on the last episode, it wasn't until I became a graduate student and under a supervisor, he was saying, "Hey, Aaron, you've been around agriculture all your life." And I was like, dang, gaining those mentors probably been the biggest thing I'd have had in agriculture, being a part of agriculture, opportunities I'd have had as far as growth, as far as looking at what a career looks like, being a man, being a potential farmer, all those things. The mentorship probably is the biggest thing, opportunity I've been able to gauge, and the network. Like the network I get through the agriculture field is, man, I ain't gonna lie. Since I didn't get knee deep into it, I done met so many people through UQuest, so many people through Vic, and it just expanded my territory in so many different ways. And I'm very appreciative of that. So the biggest thing for me is mentorship and the network, building those relationships. What about you, Quiz?
Well, for me, I have to say, like, one of the biggest opportunities that I've seen from agriculture in the academic space would have to be insight. Okay. I'm a firm believer in George Washington Carver's famous quote, "If there is no vision, there is no hope." So for me, just seeing the sides of agriculture that I didn't know about or that peers didn't know about, just being able to expose them to different stuff. Like, for instance, earlier this year, I was able to attend a meat science conference up at UGA, and I'm not necessarily in meat sciences, but I am in agricultural sciences. So to just see production on a different caliber and to see it in different lights, and to bring somebody else along so they could see it too, to realize, hey, this might not be for me, or this might be for me, or, just to see, like, okay, agriculture is bigger than just what we think about, when we see people, tilling and plowing in the field. So I have to say insight is the biggest thing, because I feel like if we can see the stuff that's coming along with agriculture, then we have more understanding of what it is, and we can actually thrive in the field.
Yeah, because sometimes I get a little personal, because if I'm talking to anybody younger than me or planning on going back to school, it's like, man, I don't know what I want to major in. And my thing is agriculture. So I'm going to be preaching agriculture to them, but let them know it's so vast. Like when Vic was saying earlier, as far as she was in agricultural business, people don't even know, like, companies like Coca-Cola. That's the food and beverage industry. So it's technically an agricultural company. So, and when I break that down to people, I'm like, I never even thought about that. Nabisco, Kellogg, companies like that. People who would never hardly, CEOs and marketing teams that would never hardly ever step foot on the farm or on a real production line, seeing like it's opportunity for me to be a part of this. Because my thing now, like, what I guess we gonna go more into this next episode, is I didn't found a passion for the evaluation side in the agriculture field within this past year, seeing how important it is to evaluate how our programs are being put out in the public, and also how we can make them better for implementing programs in the future. So I appreciate both of y'all answers. Another question I wanted to know would be, what do you plan to contribute to the agriculture field?
I'll start that one off. I plan to contribute a lot more opportunities for others like us. Also, education for like-minded individuals and people like us. Like we all agree, like, we just don't come from a community that really promotes, the field that we're in, whether it be agricultural business or agricultural sciences. It's just not something that you hear about, in the schools that we come from in our community. So just building that awareness and advocating for the field, I feel like would be the biggest thing that we can do. Me, myself personally, and us as a whole could do to contribute to agriculture.
Yeah, I think this conversation that we always have on and off camera as far as bridging that gap between the traditional side of ag and the non-traditional side of ag. Because I was having a conversation with Vic not too long ago. We was talking about the opportunities FFA presents as far as advancing your career in the agricultural workforce, whether it be in the academic setting, public sector, or private sector. Just having that on your resume can elevate you to a whole nother level.
Oh yeah.
And the opportunities that we had inside of Atlanta and metropolitan Atlanta, because Decatur is not Atlanta. Let's get that clear.
Let's get that clear. Hey, Aaron, while we on that, real quick, clear up for the viewers what FFA is.
So you got the Future Farmers of America, and also it's a great book that just came out by Dr. Antoine Austin, talking about the New Farmers of America. So it talked about the legacy of New Farmers of America, also known as the Negro Future Farmers of America. But FFA, I can't really talk too much about it because I was never a part of it. I'm just now learning about what FFA really is because, once again, growing up, I did not have FFA in my community. All I would have was 4-H, which focused on youth development, public speaking, resume building, soft skills, professional development. And within the last year or two, seeing the impact of what FFA really is. And I'll let Vic touch on a little bit more because she's been involved with other individuals who are heavily involved in FFA.
Yeah, I mean, I never had the opportunity to work or be a part of FFA growing up. It just wasn't. One, it's very expensive, and just the history of FFA, we've been excluded. Minorities have been excluded, but I think they're working now to be more inclusive. There's still a lot of work to be done. But yeah, I mean, so for example, I had the opportunity to do interviews for a few FFA participants down in Texas, Dallas, Texas. And so just interviewing them, it was eight young ladies, and they were interviewing for a just participation on the board, so on the e-board, so like president, vice president, secretary, etc. And so in their interviews, every last one of them have had or is having work experience on a farm. I had one young lady who is currently working on a Wagyu farm, which is like, to put it in layman's terms, like the Gucci of cow, so very high-end quality meat. And so she's been working on that farm, but she also is taking care of 5 steers of her own, which are,
Okay, we got to break it down.
And
We're talking about people from College Park in Decatur, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. What is a steer?
a male.
Okay, a male.
A male cow, a bull.
That does not have what?
Nuts.
That's,
so
yeah. That's
so long story less long.
Okay.
Each one of those young ladies come from a family of farmers, and they also are getting the experience of actually working on farms. So, and that brought me back to our youth, minority, especially inner city youth. But you talk about Dallas, Texas. So they're inner city, but they still have access. They still have access to farms. One young lady, her people were cotton farmers down in Louisiana. They moved up to Texas. So, they come from family of farms, generation of farms. And so it just teaches so much. And so it made me think we are behind, but it's people like ourselves that can be in position to be able to pass down our knowledge and skills, even our peers. I think about biology teachers, for example, right? If a biology teacher could easily go get certified in FFA, and start teaching ag and life science classes as a biology teacher. And on top of that, you get a pay raise. Why? Because it's a niche, right? A niche. So if you're a biology teacher, You can also go get certified in ag and life sciences, teach a class, and then now you can start an FFA program, because you have to have an ag and life science teacher at your school to be able to start an FFA program. That's the only way FFA programs get started. So that's another barrier, because we didn't have ag and life sciences at Grady, right? So now this will go into another conversation, but now you see like states like New York, inner city New York, and other states that are starting to develop ag classes that pertain or that are filtered and designed for that community. So for example, in New York, they don't have land, that farming land necessarily in the inner city. So they are building and developing programs around urban gardening or hydroponics, aeroponics, because it's more efficient for the amount of space that people have to be able to do anything related to agriculture. So that's what's happening now, is people are actually developing, designing programs that are tailored to that community. So that's a way, if anybody interested that's watching, that's a biology teacher or knows a biology teacher, you can go get certified.
Chemistry too.
Chemistry too. You can go get certified in ag and life sciences and teach, and you can design it your way, because there's no set curriculum. So I don't remember what the question was, but
no. You answered the question, because that helps me think about far as.
we were talking about FFA.
Yeah,
it's a lot of opportunities, and we got a long way to go to get our kids involved. It's the mecca, of ag and youth development.
Yeah, like we said, neither one of us on this podcast or show or information session was a part of FFA, Future Farmers of America. But when I was reading the book by Dr. Austin, I was looking at the merger, which happened in the early 1900s, and seeing that FFA merged with NFA, which was the Black FFA, and it pretty much consumed it. Like, they lost so many different people, lost so much of their values and ethics concerning how they view FFA and how they view agriculture education should be, how they prepare their students to go into the agriculture field. And we lost a lot of agriculture professionals that look like ourselves on this show right now. So I was looking at another point that I was looking at earlier, was the decline in Black farmers, how that has the loss of NFA due to the merger of FFA has decreased the population inside of the agricultural workforce for Black people in general. It said in 1920, it was almost 1 million Black farmers. In 1920, right? 2012, it was less than 45,000. And that was 10 years ago now. The numbers haven't came out as far as this year, 2022, as far as how many Black farmers are out there right now. But in 2012, it was less than 45,000. And in the 1920s, it was almost 1 million.
Yeah, I was recently watching a documentary that was talking about the 1920s in Black farming, and it was talking about the last research they had done was like 2020, and they were saying like it was less than 4% of Black farmers still left in the agricultural field. And when you think of that and you think of where we come from, it just doesn't add up,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Vic.
No, I was just gonna say, I was having that same conversation with one of my cousins the other day. He's in forestry, but no, we were having that same conversation, just talking about the decline and how, you have, compared to, these white families that have kids that are generations coming in that are excited, they're amped, it's being passed down and it's already set up for them, whereas you got Black families, one, you're dealing with heirs property. That's a whole thing in itself, where you got one family that live in New York that sold their piece of property, for money. And so now it's all broken up, it's split up. But then you also have people that wanted to move from it. We don't have the resources. And then on top of that, USDA was the mothership for discrimination when it came to providing resources for minority farmers. So that's a lack of trust, a lack of resources, just a lack of network, all of that combined in one. That's we're losing land, we're moving away from the country, or moving out of rural communities, moving to more urban communities, selling property, and not really understanding the asset and the what's the word I'm looking for?
Something like the
value in accumulating and keeping that in the family and really cultivating it so that it can really be something.
And it goes back to what we were talking about last week, because you have a business background, traditional and non-traditional business background. You understand what we talked about last week as far as getting, growing, and sustaining. Get, grow, sustain. Those are the three things that you need to keep in mind if you are having a business, or a business is maybe handed over to you as far as what you're talking about as far as land ownership. Because land, right now, we're still going through inflation. Real estate is at an all-time high right now. It's a seller's market. So do you think you lost any value as far as inflation if you had property in your family since 1920s? No. A lot of land in my family was lost through the Great Migration. Like all three of us, our grandfathers were farmers. My grandfather just totally walked away from the farm because he was not getting the proper funding from the USDA. And I was going to ask you to explain what the USDA was and what the USDA stood for earlier. But USDA is United States Department of Agriculture, and how they have discriminated against minority farmers. But USDA, I'm not going to just totally shame, because USDA has done some tremendous things, because we was talking about earlier on the other episode about the USDA 1890 scholarship. It's a lot of different things as far as just being knowledgeable and having the right information to be able to apply and to decipher and have your own discernment regarding certain issues and regarding funding when you're looking at farming or different loans and grants. What Kelly was sharing earlier as far as the land ownership. I just went off on a whole nother tangent, but that's a conversation for another episode. But that, when I looked at 1 million farmers in 1920, 2012, less than 45,000, I was like,
yeah, I agree.
Come on, man.
Even piggybacking off of what you were just talking about, it's not all bad. I mean, being an 1890 scholar, I'll be able to graduate debt free, and go to the next level, without incurring any debt. So, I mean, it's great opportunities within the USDA, and, they're not all bad, but I feel like, at this point in age and stage, we have to do our parts, you know what I'm saying? And we have to hold ourselves accountable within our communities, which is why I love this platform, and because it gives us a chance to bring those issues to the forefront and actually hold each other accountable for the things that we know and lack thereof, you know what I mean?
So I appreciate you all for helping me out this week. It's been a pleasure talking to you all, with you all, and I don't know if you all want to give people your contact information where they can follow you on IG, YouTube, anything you want to share with them.
Find it in the link below.
Okay then. Okay.
You can find me in the link below too, but you can go follow me on IG at LabLife_Shawty.
Okay, how you spell it, Shawty? You from Atlanta.
Ways. Yeah, we got that SHAWTY.
Okay.
LabLife_Shawty.
All right. Well, thank you all again for having this conversation with me. Can't wait to have a conversation with you all next week.
Appreciate y'all.
Peace.